for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make any sudden moves. You don't know the half of the abuse. All my friends are heathens, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know.
Have you found out that your spouse is having an affair behind your back? If so, what you say and do within the next 48 hours is critical to what happens to your marriage and your life. I know right now it feels like no one can understand your pain, your anguish, your humiliation. I'm Dr. Bob Huizenga, and I've spent the last 34 years helping people recover from the agony and hardship that affairs cause. And I've helped hundreds of people save their marriages who are on the express lane to a bitter and expensive divorce. However, although I can say I've seen it all, it's always painful to see what you go through when your spouse has betrayed you. An affair shakes you to your very core, violently rips the rug from under you, often when you least expect it. You may be overwhelmed with rage, sadness, anger, confusion, not sure who or what to blame, or blaming everything and everyone, especially yourself. Even if it feels like it's entirely the other person's fault, it can be sometimes very difficult not to wonder if you're to blame too. An affair can hijack your every waking thought, yank you out of sleep in the middle of the night, making you wonder if you're undesirable, if you let your partner down emotionally or in bed, if you've lost what your partner found attractive, or make you wonder if the entire marriage was a mistake and you've wasted years of your life. You may wonder, who else knows about the affair? Are the neighbors talking? Do my coworkers know? And it gets even worse if the other person involved in the affair is someone you both know or is a regular part of your community. Along with the betrayal of what your spouse has done, it just gets worse as more betrayals add up, as friends and family take sides. People use your trauma as water cooler gossip. Your thoughts spiral between pain, rage, grief, misery, jealousy, hatred, even violence. And all of those normal, by the way. It is so unfair, and no one should have to go through this. And even though it's hard to even think straight at this point, I need you to pull your strength together for the next few minutes. Because the next 48 hours are critical for you, your marriage, and your recovery. The time where the most damage can be done to your marriage and your own emotional well-being is in the first days and weeks from when you discover the affair. Let me tell you, whether the affair is still going on or whether it was a one-time thing, and whether you're dying to have your spouse truly love you, or whether you've half-packed your suitcase ready to move out, how you handle the next 48 hours will decide the rest of your life. If you want your marriage to survive, you must know that everything you say to your spouse has a profound impact right now. Every conversation you have, every glance you make at them, everything you say and everything you don't say, this will all determine whether your marriage survives and how happy you can truly be for the rest of your life. And even more important than that, what you do in the next 48 hours will largely decide how you recover emotionally in the weeks and months to come. It will affect how you heal, how fast you get back on your feet, how your children, if you have them, respond to the situation. In just a couple minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to give your marriage the best chances of surviving and even thriving after the affair. And if the affair is still going on, I'll show you how to stop it in its tracks. First, I need to get a couple things clear for you and maybe take some weight off your shoulders at the same time. I need to tell you the 3 myths of the affair and how they can totally ruin marriages that would have completely recovered otherwise. It's crucial that you know this, because if you fall for even one of these myths, you'll not only destroy Any chance you have of saving your marriage will also ruin your emotional recovery from the trauma. So here they are. Myth number 1. It's my fault they cheated. I have to address this for everybody, even if you don't really think you caused the affair. Even if you are 100% sure your partner is in the wrong, there is likely some part of you inside that is blaming yourself, even subconsciously. And this is very common and completely unnecessary. The truth is that any affair is completely, undoubtedly, 100% the fault of the spouse who commits the affair, no one else. Yes, the other person who has invaded your marriage has done something very wrong and deserves no sympathy, but you are completely blameless, even if you feel like there are some things you could have done better as a spouse. Why is this so critical? Because the faster you're able to love yourself and forgive yourself, especially since you've done nothing wrong, the faster you'll be able to heal from the damage and do what's right for you and your marriage. And let me be straight with you. Even if you had an affair first, it's still your partner's responsibility to honor their vows. And in a couple minutes, I will show you how to find out if this affair is something your partner did or is a reflection of who your partner is. There are quick ways to tell if this is a one-time mistake or an alarm of ongoing problems and pain to come. And before we get to that, we have the next myth. Myth number 2, the marriage is ruined. The myth that an affair means the marriage is over is one of the worst lies plaguing society today. An affair is always wrong and always devastating, but it doesn't mean divorce is the answer, and it rarely means that your marriage is destroyed. In fact, in my 3 decades as a marriage and family therapist, I cannot say that I've ever seen a marriage ruined by an affair. What I have seen is a marriage ruined how people respond to an affair. And I have seen cases where an affair was a symptom that a spouse was bad news. But I have never actually seen a marriage destroyed by an affair. In fact, I've seen plenty of cases where a marriage has been dramatically improved by how a couple handles a traumatic event like this. Some of the happiest couples I know are ones where an affair happened and they were able to get over it. Let me be clear. An affair is never justified. However, it does often present an opportunity for a couple to become closer and more committed than ever. That opportunity is a painful one that I would not wish on anyone. However, the greater intimacy, love, and even trust that a situation like this can create is unbelievable. And the final lie about affairs is we should get counseling. I'm sure it's strange to hear a marriage therapist say that counseling is a bad idea for couples in this situation, but it is very true, and I'll explain why. First of all, I've rarely seen a couple go to counseling together who are both firmly on board. Usually there's one partner who is trying to benefit from counseling while the other partner is begrudgingly going. So it becomes hard for any real progress to be made. And worse, sometimes a spouse ends up using counseling as an excuse to end the marriage entirely. You can just imagine it. We tried counseling, it didn't work, we have nothing left to try, it's over. If one or both partners is resistant to the counselor or to counseling in general, it is very easy to go through the motions and pretend like they're trying to work things out, all the while stubbornly holding back and resenting the other person. That's not what I want for you. The good news is that the outcome of this situation is entirely in your control. You can have the relationship you want, the peace of mind, the love, without depending on your partner to do anything. It's all up to you and you alone. And I'm going to show you how to break free from the affair so it does not ruin your life for another day. However, all of this is dependent on one solid truth you must know, and that is the cardinal rule. You must know what type of affair has happened before you decide what you're going to do. Over the past 2 decades, I found there are 7 types of affairs, and they can be very different from each other. If you're thinking you're dealing with one kind of affair, but it's really another one, making that one mistake can have toxic, awful results that wreck your marriage and then haunt you emotionally for years after everything falls apart. And I have to be completely honest with you. For 3 of these 7 types of affairs, if you discover the affair is one of the toxic 3, then you'd probably be best getting out of this marriage as soon as possible, protecting your assets, and moving on right away. I hope in the depths of my heart it's not one of the toxic 3, but you do need to make sure you know what you're dealing with. The good news is that most of the affairs are fully recoverable. And not only will you recover, but you can have a wonderful, beautiful, almost dreamlike relationship with your spouse. That's literally 10 times more fulfilling than you felt on your honeymoon. It's all up to you. At this point, your spouse has either made a horrifying mistake or is someone who is literally unable to truly care about what they've done. And you have the right to know which one it is. No, you must find out for the sake of your marriage, for your children, if you have any. To make sure you do this, I have Break Free from the Affair to guide you the entire way. This is my downloadable book on how to stop an affair in its tracks and take your marriage back if that's what you still want. And if you don't know what you want at this point, then you need Break Free from the Affair more than ever. I know you're probably confused and overwhelmed right now, and that's why I've made everything very easy so you know exactly what is going on and exactly what to do. In Break Free from the Affair, you have a simple and straightforward diagnostic checklist to know exactly what type of affair has happened. Once you have identified the type of affair, I will show you on a 1 to 10 scale what your chances are of saving the marriage. And if you decide this is a marriage you want to keep, I will give you the exact methods for talking to your partner, what to say and what not to say. You will have the power of charging neutral, where you can stick up for yourself and be completely honest with your partner while not creating a fight or getting your spouse on the defensive. This will work wonders for both your marriage and all your relationships. You'll have the technique I call Leap Your Partner, where you are immune to anything they throw at you and can lovingly have your way where they see how much they hurt you and are literally begging for your forgiveness. In my experience, there are 3 outcomes of affairs. Ones where you can recover and at least get the relationship satisfaction you had before the affair. Ones where you can have a far more fulfilling, fabulous marriage where the affair surprisingly results in things getting better than ever. And there are the affairs where it's a sign that it's time to protect yourself and move on. You see, not every marriage is worth saving. Some are outright dangerous. There is sometimes a possibility that the spouse is engaging in or planning some dangerous behavior and you're best getting away as soon as possible. In Break Free from the Affair, you have the easy guide to know exactly what situation you're in, and you can click Add to the Cart to start taking your marriage back right now.